Hi Travis, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. What'd you think of the Super Bowl?
It was good. It was good. I was going for the 49ers, so um, you know, you know, they didn't win.
Oh, is that the team you're going for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was happy that the Chiefs won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
So I wanted to follow up and see. I know last time we talked, you had mentioned that you were gonna call your friend Kirk about your mutual friend passing away. Did you have a chance to call him?
Yeah, I talked to him. It was good. We were able to talk and catch up and see how each other was doing and just kind of be there for each other during this time.
Oh, good. So there wasn't anything brought up from the past about y'all's
No.
argument?
No.
Okay, so I know you had some reservations because you were nervous about how y'all's friendship kind of the last note you guys had was pretty negative.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was fine. Everything was fine. We didn't talk about anything negative from the past. It was only positive things from the past.
Okay, and then how was your? I know we've set that SMART goal where you're going to set it 10 minutes a day to meditate and kind of set affirmations for your day. How's that been going?
It's been going really well. It's been going really well. We talked about that first thing in the morning, right away, as when I do my affirmations and my meditation and just really taking that time in.
Good. And you know, really being mindful about what you can control. Really, that circle of control, what you can control, what you can't.
Yeah,
Can be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. When I'm meditating and being mindful, I definitely am trying to focus on what I can control and what I can't control.
Okay, and how are things going at work with Ron?
Ron's good. There's a lot for him to learn, so there's always frustrations, constant battles, but that's just kind of work, you know. Uh, you know, it it it's hard when he was raised a certain way and I was raised a different way, and so my work ethic compared to his work ethic might be something completely different. So where he thinks he is working hard, and I think he's just getting by, he really might in his head, and so just giving myself that extra perspective and being mindful of that and that he was raised probably a lot different than I was, and my dad and my family was real big on working hard, always being at work, and so he's doing good. Like I said, there's just the little battles.
Yeah, how do you think that's different than how Ron was raised?
I don't know. I just know how I've heard stories of how Ron was raised.
From Ron?
From Ron.
Okay.
Yeah, from Ron. And, Ron, I think he lived with his dad and during the school years, and then he'd go stay with his mom during the summers. And so
So like a divided household.
Yeah, but my thing is like, I was working right away from like the age of 14 or
Oh wow. 15. What'd you do at 14?
Lifeguard.
Oh awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you feel like, your upbringing working at a young age helped you.
And then also the biggest thing is seeing, parents go to work. My dad would go to work every morning and work until, the sun came down. And so that was a good example of what it takes to, get stuff done.
Yeah, and seeing that model every day, that's helped you as an adult carry over. Sure. Especially real estate, it's very challenging, it's very busy, and you got to keep going, and you do work long hours, contrary to what people might think with the real estate schedule.
Yeah. Thankfully, my mornings are pretty peaceful, but, the days and the afternoons get kind of long.
And how's it going at home with your family?
It's going really well.
Good.
It's going really well. I think the mindful Meditation has really helped out, especially with the family and things like that. We might get frustrated or are upset with one another, but it very rarely will lead to anything bigger, and then it typically is over within 30 minutes or so. I'll say my apologies or whatever needs to be had.
Oh, well, I'm really happy to see that. So I was looking through my notes the other day, and the first session when you came in, your whole reason for starting to see a counselor was you felt like you were blowing up, like out of
my anger outbursts
pretty frequently. And so what I'm hearing you say now is they're kind of few and far between, and that's a huge contribution to you. And I think you acknowledging that this was an area that you wanted to grow in, and then the mindfulness, and then just bringing that to your awareness. I'm just really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's helped a lot. I mean, we're all human, and I do still have, I feel like, probably anger issues, but I think I've been able to focus on those problems and those anger issues, and hopefully, limit my outburst or think or, meditate, bring myself calming instead of get more upset and just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, and then going back to what you said about your dad when, he would work long hours, did you have a good, were you still able to spend time with him?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, he would come to a lot of swimming practices, a lot of football practices. He coached my basketball teams. So he would work a lot, but he was still there.
Did you ever see him get angry?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I get it from.
Okay, what do you mean?
He would have anger outbursts. It was just a common occurrence, once a week. Definitely on the weekends when we were all at the house working on stuff. If I wasn't doing something correct or something, or I was pretty rebellious, so it would frustrate him, and he'd have anger outbursts. He'd yell at me, scream,
and
spank, all that good stuff.
Is that the same approach you want to use with your kiddos?
No, definitely not as stern. No, definitely not as stern.
Why do you say that?
Because there becomes a point where I feel like it damages the relationship with your child more than it helps. You could get a point across, be stern, but still allow your child to trust you and be vulnerable and open up to you, to where they know they could tell you something without them going to go get in trouble right away.
Yeah, and I think about, today's society with social media and just, different things that kids have access to. I agree with what you're saying, that, you want kids to feel comfortable enough to come with you, this is happening, or my friend showed me this, or I found this, what does it mean? And not try to disclose it because of the fear of the anger outburst. So that's
that's what I would do as a child all the time, is because my parents were so strict and so stern that I would just be scared to tell them anything.
Yeah. So that's good that you're kind of reflecting and refining, your parenting style. And, I'm sure there's great things as well that you can take from your parents. And, with anything, even different leadership styles, you can pick and choose what you want.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff comes naturally. The stuff that I like that they did, I think it just naturally almost happens. I'll feel myself saying something, I'm like, oh, I sound like my mom, or oh, I sound like my dad, where I try to be more mindful of the negative things I didn't like,
A more conscious effort of not to do that.
Yeah, more conscious effort. That way my kids will always feel like they could come and talk to me, and that I'm not going to just, come down on them.
Yeah, absolutely. You want I think that balance is important.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
Just the ups and downs with work, and then that's it, Some financial pressures just between work and home, and trying to, remodel a bathroom and get, I guess, I think my wife wants some kind of boat for the summer, and so just some of that kind of stuff.
So are you feeling the pressure also at work to kind of maintain?
No, I mean, work requires cash flow with what I do, so trying to maintain a good cash flow while keeping things nice and neat at the house, or buying new toys like a boat or stuff like that. So it just becomes a fine line of cash flow.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's impacting you at all mentally?
No, not really. Yeah,
But
the only thing mentally that like really impacts me is just the whenever and there's just my daughter just being like, I want to see her more often, but I try not to get too stressed out about anything really. I do have anger, which is interesting because I'm pretty stress free when it comes to most things. But it does always not worry me, but consumes my mental space with trying to see my daughter as much as I can.
So really, I think
like a guilty conscience almost. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that one of your focuses is going to be still maintaining that work-home balance.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, that's, yeah.
Is your little one, how old was she again?
3.
Okay, so yeah, there's really little, and she probably misses you and notices when you're not there.
Yeah.
So what are some things you're going to try to do to make sure that you are balancing your home life?
I wouldn't say necessarily my work-life balance is unbalanced or I'm not spending enough time with her. I don't. It's just a guilt, not a guilty, but like, and I've talked with other men and other fathers, and it's just something that they feel like, there's because I know I'm spending more time with my daughter than, a mass amount, a good percentage of guys are able to, a lot of guys that I know, especially in the blue collar industry, they go to work at 7 and they work all the way till 5 or 6, where, I don't have to get to work until 8 or 9, and then I'm off at, 5 or 6 as well. So I get to spend
extra hours.
Yeah. So I get to spend lots of time with her. All my weekends I get to spend with her. So I know I'm spending like plenty of time, especially because the time I'm not spending with her, she's in a learning environment. So it's not like she's being held back because I'm not at home. But it's just, and I've talked about this with other men, especially fathers, that they just feel like not a guilty conscience, but it's just like wanting to be with your family or wanting to be with your children more, even though you're not with them enough. It's just this weird pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, that's it's just like you said, that guilt, and you feel like you, on one hand, you are spending enough time, but on the other hand, it's like, is it enough?
Yeah.
Like, obviously your daughter's always
like
at the
even
forefront.
even if I just got done spending 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days on with her, even when I go back to work, that next day or 2 days, it feels like that pressure. Even though if I just, I know I shouldn't feel that.
Yeah.
But
Where do you think that pressure comes from?
I think it's a good pressure. I think I think it's something that not all fathers have, that kind of pressure where they want to be with their children. And, unfortunately some fathers probably don't want to be with their kids, and the less they're with their kids, the better they might feel. But so I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's a good thing that
you value the time that you
and
spend.
Most of the men that I talk to that have this same kind of pressure that they feel are good fathers. I don't hear this kind of pressure, anxiety, or stress coming from people that are bad fathers, or people that don't have children or whatever.
Yeah, well, it sounds like your family's your priority, and so but it seems like they're your why. Why you may work an extra hour, or why you might work harder. And I am thinking about Ron because I think he doesn't have a family. Is that right? He's single?
Yeah, he doesn't have a wife and kids.
Okay, so because I know that you've expressed in the past how your work ethic is so different, and it could be because of your upbringing, but also, you know, I wonder what his why is of going to work. If it's similar to like, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your why is to provide for your family and be there and be a good role model for your kids and support your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to know, you know, when Ron goes to work, what is it? What is it? Just, you know, a paycheck? Like, I don't know. Is it just for personal gain?
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like when people have that, you know, that why, and, you know, they're staying true to themselves, you do tend to perform better at work or be more motivated to perform better.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think, you know, my family's, you know, a huge why. I've never really asked Ron what his why is.
It's just something that I was just curious about.
That's a good question. There's a chance I'll probably ask him what his why is. You know, I heard a podcast or a talk about defining your why and like how you could get really nitty gritty in defining your why. You know, and that once you've come up with your true why of why you're doing what you're doing, it just makes your whole calling or your whole job become a lot easier. Probably similar with your
good advice.
It's probably similar with your career.
And so going back to, you know, you growing up, and it sounds like you had great parents, but, you know, as a child, you remember your dad getting angry at you guys when you weren't, you know, kind of falling in line. And you kind of mentioned that you feel like you get your anger from your dad. So I just want to let you know that you are taking a big step and kind of breaking that cycle, because typically within families, you kind of see the same cycles over and over again. But you are taking that first step to recognize it, because you don't want to end up yelling at your kiddos like your dad did, whether or not he was right to yell or not. So, you know, I do want to give you credit for that, and I hope that you're also giving your credit for that. And, you know, when those mornings do get busy and you're thinking, but the fact that you're giving those 10 minutes for the meditation to help with your anger outbursts, it really is a big deal. And I hope that, you know, you're proud of yourself for that progress.
No, it's something that we have to work on. That's why I'm here, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We all can grow. We all have areas of growth. And then I did want to go back to, you know, working with Ron. Do you feel like you're still like getting angry with him, or has that subsided as well?
Yeah, I keep it pretty professional. Yeah, I don't let any anger kind of be like, maybe some frustration. Definitely no anger. With Ron, and yeah, I do a really good job of keeping the anger away from a professional setting, you know. And a lot of it is just frustration. It never really gets to the point where it makes me angry. Yeah, it's just really frustrating at times. But I mean, last week was a great week. We put 5 houses under contract.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. But of course, the life of real estate, 2 of those contracts kind of are already imploding, exploding, whatever you want to say. So
why does that happen?
A multitude of reasons. You know, there's hundreds of different reasons. For one of them, we had some buyers give us false information as far as like social security numbers. And then they lied to us about recent bankruptcies. And then another one was, you know, partially Ron's fault, partially my fault, because I'm Ron's mentor. So the other one, we got a contract on the house to purchase, and then we were going to turn around and sell that house right away. And so we started advertising it already before we finalized the purchase. And I didn't let Ron know that we're not supposed to advertise the addresses of these properties, and so he went ahead and put the address out there, and it sounds like someone went directly to our seller and told him about us trying to sell the house and stuff, and so.
So is that going to break the contract or?
Yeah, if the seller is not willing, so he already signed that he's wanting to sell us the property, and now it just goes to escrow and goes to title. And so if he's not willing to sign, even though he already signed, like if he's not willing to go to the closing table and receive the money and sign the closing docs, then yeah, things are gonna get kind of haywire. And yeah, and then also I paid $2,500 for a temporary restraining order to stop a foreclosure on this property. And so if it ends up not going through or ends up exploding, then I lost $2,500.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a cash flow game.
I know,
So
you just sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. Okay. So what are some goals you have for yourself for the future?
I would say probably continuing to meditate and be mindful every morning. I think that's a really good routine to incorporate. And then just, anytime I feel like an outburst might be coming on, just kind of remember what we had talked about in here and how to control that situation and just bring myself back to a calm state.
Okay, well, those are awesome goals, and like I said, I'm really proud of the effort you put in, and I think it's going to pay off for your family and in all areas of your life. So I'm super, super proud of you, and I will see you soon.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Travis.
All right.